Here we are talking about seeds today. I'm going to show you a bunch of the seeds that I've been saving. We're in the early part of November, and many of my seeds are still wet and they are still drying. But I just wanted to show you the way that I save my seed. As soon as we get seeds from a fruit or a vegetable, what I will do is we will put them out so they can dry, kind of like this. And so they're drying on here. But we write on here what it is. So this one says Esther's Perfect Pumpkin. Pretty orange and beautiful stem. So if we don't write that on here when we do this, and it looks like that right there, then we don't know what it is, but we know it was good enough to save, but then it's a mystery when we're trying to grow it. And then here's this one, and this is not the right tag, but this one is. So this is the first pumpkin of the year. So this one ripened in our climate. So these are great genetics because it turned orange in our climate here. So this is pretty great. We had a June 15th frost. The June 15th frost killed all of our pumpkins. And then this is one that was planted after that. It came up, it grew in the weeds. We didn't even weed it. So those are good genetics too because it grew and it ripened with very minimal care. Once my seeds dry, I like to put them in glass jars. But, you know, what is this? Well, I have the tag right here. This is my 2022 Scarlet Runner. And these are beautiful, beautiful seeds. They're so glorious. But you don't ever want to put them in a glass jar until they're completely dried. So when you think they're dried, leave them out to dry for another couple of weeks.
So that's why you've got it in an open flask?
No.
Or just
Because
that's what you had.
I'm a mad scientist and I love these things. That's why they're in an open flask. So this is from the very same group of plants. These are Scarlet Runners. And so Scarlet Runners come in all colors and shapes.
We had way more of the black seeds than the purple this year.
I can't get them back in there. So what happens when you're seed breeding is a lot of times you will have a characteristic that is dominant, so you produce more of those. So if I plant all of these seeds next year, I'm going to have 5 of these and 2 of these. And the next year I'll have 20 or 30 of these and 7 or 8 of these. It exponentially gets bigger with your dominant genes. So next year I'm going to plant probably only these. We might end up using most of these black ones and trying to cook something with them this winter. Because we
want that variety.
We want to keep the pretty colors.
They really are gorgeous.
So
you're selectively choosing what genes you want in your garden.
Right, because after a while, the plants will selectively choose on their own to be all black when they're done. And I don't want that. I want to keep the pretty colors. So, right here we have a large yellow landrace rodent planted on the stone wall. Flavor was a 9 out of 10, which means excellent. But this is a tomato. So these are my tomato seeds.
Oh, those were the ones that grew over against the wall.
Yeah, it was that big slicer.
Yeah, the volunteer.
It was a
good tomato.
It was a good 3 inches across. So these are dry enough now. I can put those in a packet and we're ready to go. You don't want to leave them out too long because bugs might eat them. So being in glass is a good way. So here I have a green melon, 2022. It was growing outside, and this is a green melon with an orange flesh. And out of 1 out of 10 on flavor, this one was a 5. So was it worth saving seed for? Yes, because it ripened in our climate. And we can work on flavor in subsequent generations.
Because if you can get it to a stage where it is ripe, then the genetic code for sweetness is still in the seed. It's still there. It just will have time to work on it, correct? Is that the idea behind the landrace?
Yeah, so you would just pick the sweetest one every year.
Right.
So this one was a 5, so next year I'm going to pick one that's a 7.
Awesome.
Unless I have a 10.
Right.
Usually it takes 8 or 9 generations to really get good. So there's that. So that's good. And then here's this one. So what's my big mistake here?
That's where that plate went. Caught red-handed.
With red watermelon seeds.
Oh, there we go.
So I don't need a tag on this one because there's only one variety of the watermelons that has the red seed, and that is the Indian cave melon. And these are the seeds that I saved to go on for next year. These had excellent, absolutely wonderful everything. It was the best melon there was.
So good.
If it ripens in our climate, we save it. And so what we're doing now is we're saving the ones with the best flavor. So we'll eat 10 melons, and I will rate them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But they have to ripen early. So I'm only picking the 2 or 3 melons, not the 5 or 6. Only the 2 or 3 that are the first to ripen. As soon as they ripen, I'll pick the best flavored from the ones that ripen within the first week. So that's these right here. Very, very, very sacred right here. So I know what these are. I didn't have to write on them. And then this one, I didn't have to write on this one either. This was, this is also Landrace watermelon. And this is kind of along the lines of Moon and Stars, except I've been crossbreeding it with other things. So there's that. Let's take a quick look at this cupboard over here where I have seeds. First of all, the wheat up here. This is a Landrace wheat, but we've been breeding it for quite a few generations. But this one right here is interesting because it's starting to grow a second head on the head there. And
that's exponential capacity, isn't it?
Yeah, but see, there's more.
There's several of them
that one's doing it.
Wow, this one here is starting to do it on. Well,
see those two there.
Look at that! Oh, look at that!
So the hope is that we would take this wheat and over the generations. So this is all I have right here. We should do a whole separate video just on this one. Let's do that. Keep watching.
Okay. Come back for an update on the wheat.
But this is how I dry my beans. I just shell them out when they dry up on there. But these ones were wet. And so see how most of the beans are black? And so we would have to sort these out to keep the genetics that are doing something different that you want. Now, if you didn't want these other colors, don't sort them out. These are the ones you would eat if you'd want an all black bean. And then you just plant those. But next year, you will still have colors. But after 10 years, you'd have all blacks. Mm-hmm. And so that's how you could breed for that. And then these are the pole beans. This is pole beans that we grew in the greenhouse. And these are dry enough now. These could go in bottle. But this is enough seed for probably 3 or 4 years to grow. But I'm not going to keep the seed for 3 or 4 years, because then I'm planting the genetics that grew this year for the next 3 or 4 years. I want the plants to evolve and change and have better characteristics. So next year, I'm going to start tasting each plant when a bean is ready. And if I can tell a better flavor from a particular plant, I flag that plant with ribbon. And then we don't eat that particular plant. We don't pick them. We let them dry up and die so that we can have seed for the next year. And then we start working on flavor. Doing the same thing with corn. As the corn cobs mature, and because they're still wet right now, and they need to be very, very dry. There's a lot of moisture in there. But when I pick them, I need to know what they are. So this is open to the air. And these were the only ears that are doing this thing with these genetics. So this is I call this a black, blue, quad colored, because there were 4 different colors in this. It originally came from the Joseph Lofthouse breeding strain. And so we have yellow, white, blue, and black. And it's the 2nd generation that we've grown in Clover Valley. So this is a sweet corn with 4 different colors in it, showing amazing genetic variability. We're probably 5 years, maybe more, maybe 10 years out from creating corn that's predictable in what you're going to get in the harvest. But this is fun breeding. But this is kind of how I do this with the, so that it can continue to dry, but I know what it is. And it's not the right way, it's just a way I'm doing it. And then all of these ones right here, all of these yellows here, these originally came from the Joseph Lofthouse corn, but this is a bicolor. It's white and yellow, and this is the second year in Clover Valley.
This was very, very good corn.
No, I'm saying white and yellow. You have an occasional speck in here, but I'm breeding that out. So I would not want to plant. I don't want to save the ones that have that color in them because we're breeding that out.
You're breeding just for the bicolor on that.
Yeah, well, what we're breeding for is early maturity in our climate because with our 80-day growing season.
And multiple ears.
A sweet corn that we can grow and more than one ear. So every ear here had 2 ears on the stalk. So that's the main thing. And I don't even care about color.
Yeah.
Really. Color's not the issue. The issue is 2 or 3 or 4 ears on a stalk of a sweet corn that will ripen in our climate. So there's that. These are plants that I got early on. This is the Indian Cave melon, and this is this year's. So that was the very first one. The one on the plate we looked at a minute ago ripened a couple of weeks later. So the flavor was good enough to keep. It was excellent. So here's this one. So a little bit different strain, but it's dried. So this is how I'm storing them. I put them in the Ziploc bag, and then to keep them away from rodents, once I clean this shelf off in the next few weeks throughout the winter, I will shove these in a jar, and we put these in a mason jar because then bugs and rodents can't get in. So this is the Landrace. What is it? It's the cantaloupe.
Those little 8-ball sized ones.
It goes back to the Minnesota midget type.
They are so good. Oh my gosh. They were so good.
And then here's Scarlet Runners from 2021. So this is seed I had left over from last year. These are Anasazi beans from 2021. Where's this year's Anasazis? I saved a whole bunch of them.
I did a video on you harvesting them. You'll have to find them.
They're down here.
You've got them tucked away somewhere.
So here's a whole bunch of seeds. So all of this right here was grown in 2022. I'm not going to get these out, but you can see I've got carrot seed. I've got, there's melons, musk melons, and then here's all of the
Anasazis.
Yeah, and they're showing cold hardiness.
The color was interesting.
So these need to be shoved into bottles to keep them safe. This is just an update on seed saving. Hopefully this helps you to be seedy in your life.